They say that every forest has its secrets, but some secrets were never meant to be uncovered. Deep in the heart of a forgotten village lies the Dharava Forest, a place the locals call the Land of Whispers. By day, it looks like any other woodland. But at night, shadows move where no one stands, and voices echo through the trees, though no mouth speaks. The villagers warn outsiders never to step into the forest after sundown. Say it is cursed, haunted by spirits of those who tried to summon powers far beyond their control. For generations, people have disappeared within its depths. Wanderers were found days later, their bodies twisted, their faces frozen in silent screams. No one dares to talk about it too openly, but if you listen carefully, you'll hear the whispers about a ritual gone terribly wrong. One cold October evening, 4 friends arrived in the village on the edge of Dharava Forest. There was Arjun, the leader of the group, always hungry for adventure, never believing in old tales. Mira, a skeptic, armed with her camera, determined to record everything for proof. Rahul, the quiet one, hesitant from the start but unwilling to be left behind. And finally, Kabir, the joker of the group, never taking anything seriously until that night. They had heard the legend of the ritual, a forbidden ceremony said to summon something powerful. To them, it was nothing but a story, a challenge, a thrill. But the villagers did not smile when they asked about it. One old woman warned them, "If you light the candles, if you speak the words, the forest will not let you leave." The friends laughed it off. But in the woman's eyes, there was no humor, only fear. That night, against every warning, the 4 friends stepped into the Dharava Forest. The air grew colder with each step. Fog curled between the trees like pale fingers reaching for their ankles. The deeper they went, the more the forest seemed alive. The branches groaned, the ground crunched beneath them. Somewhere in the distance, a faint sound echoed, almost like someone whispering their names. They told themselves it was the wind. But in Dharava, the wind does not speak. The clearing was their destination. A large open space, shrouded in mist, dominated by an ancient banyan tree. Its roots spread like a spiderweb, its branches clawed at the sky. The tree seemed to pulse with an eerie, otherworldly light. As they approached, the whispers grew louder, forming words, weaving tales of power and peril. Under the tree, a circle of candles lay waiting, each one a silent sentinel guarding the secrets of the ritual. Arjun, his face illuminated by the spectral glow, stepped forward. He picked up the first candle, its wax cold against his fingers. The moment he did, the whispers intensified, their voices sharp and insistent. Wait. Then they heard it, a low growl that seemed to emanate from the very core of the earth. Fear, raw and primal, gripped them. They wanted to run, to tear away from the whispers and the growling, but their legs felt rooted to the spot. Kabir, his bravado gone, his face drained of color, stumbled. The growl echoed again, louder this time. In the flickering candlelight, they saw it, a shape coalescing from the shadows. Tall and gaunt, it glided towards them, its eyes burning embers in the gloom. It moved with an unsettling grace, a predator stalking its prey. Panic seized them. They screamed, desperate and afraid, and ran. The forest became a labyrinth of darkness and despair. The whispers taunted them, the growling echoed behind. And as they ran, they knew they were not alone. They say that some secrets are best left buried, some powers best left untapped. In the heart of Dharava Forest, the legend of the ritual lives on, a warning for those who dare to seek what they do not understand. For in the whispers of the wind, the forest keeps its secrets close, assuring that some mysteries are never solved, some nightmares never forgotten. The forest seemed endless. Hours passed, but the friends could not tell how far they had gone. Their phone signals had long vanished, leaving them alone in the silence of Dharava. The canopy above was so thick that not a single ray of sunlight could penetrate it, leaving them in near darkness. The only light came from their flashlights, which did little to pierce the gloom. "I think we should stop for the night," Mira said, her voice tight. "We can start again early in the morning." But Raul shook his head, his gaze fixed on the path ahead. "No, we have to keep going. If we stop now, we might never find our way out." Kabir forced a smile, though his heart pounded in his chest. "Hey, why don't we make a camp here?" We can call this our base and search for the village from here." His bravado did little to hide the tremor in his voice. Arjun frowned, but Mira shook her head. "Rahul is right. We've already wasted too much time. We should keep moving." So they kept walking deeper into the dark, silent forest, their fear a tangible thing between them.
Ow.
Then suddenly Mira's flashlight beam landed on something. She gasped, stumbling forward. Beneath a cluster of twisted trees, hidden beneath moss and roots, was an old stone platform. Its surface was cracked, but the carvings on it were still visible, dark symbols spiraling across the stone like veins. Around it were the remains of burnt candles, melted into the rock long ago. "It looks like an altar," Rahul whispered, his voice trembling. Arjun grinned, brushing the dirt away. "This is it. This must be where they performed the ritual." Kabir tried to laugh, though unease crept into his tone. "Well, at least it saves us time. No need to build our own altar." But the moment they stepped closer, the forest grew unnaturally quiet. No crickets, no rustle of leaves. Just silence. A silence so heavy it pressed against their ears. Mira raised her camera, recording the sight. Her hands shook as she zoomed in on the carvings. "These symbols, they're not random," she muttered. "They look like instructions." On the edge of the altar lay something else. A book, its leather cover eaten away by time. Arjun picked it up. The pages were brittle, but the ink was still legible. Strange words filled the parchment, written in a language none of them recognized. Yet beside the text were drawings, diagrams of a circle, candles placed in specific positions, and figures kneeling in prayer. Rahul stepped back. "I don't like this. We should go now." But Arjun smirked. "Come on, this is perfect. We'll do the ritual, record it, and prove all those villagers wrong. Tomorrow, we'll laugh about it." Mira hesitated, but curiosity won. Kabir, despite his fear, followed along. None of them wanting to be the first to back down, they gathered around the altar. Using their camping gear, they set up candles where the diagram showed. One by one, flames flickered to life, casting long shadows across the trees. The night seemed to lean in closer, as though the forest itself was watching. Arjun held the book, his voice low as he tried to mimic the strange words. The syllables were harsh, unnatural, scraping against the air. At first, nothing happened. Kabir smirked, about to crack a joke, but then the wind shifted. All the candles shuddered, though there was no breeze. The flames bent inward, toward the center of the circle, as if drawn by something unseen. The ground trembled. A deep vibration, subtle at first, but growing with every word Arjun spoke. Mira's camera flickered, static crawling across the screen. "Stop," Rahul whispered urgently. "Arjun, stop." But Arjun didn't stop. His eyes seemed glazed, his voice louder now, carried by something that wasn't entirely his own.
Oh.
Then one candle extinguished, then another, and another. Darkness seeped into the circle like black smoke, and from that darkness came the sound of breathing, not theirs. Something else. Something standing just outside the circle. The breathing grew heavier, slow, guttural, like the lungs of something too large to be human. The friends froze. Their eyes darted toward the trees, but beyond the flickering candlelight, nothing could be seen. Only shadows shifting between the trunks, too tall, too thin, as though the forest itself had begun to take shape. "Who's there?" Kabir shouted, his voice breaking. No answer. Only that sound. The ragged inhale, the rasping exhale. It was closer now. Then suddenly, Mira's camera pointed toward the altar. The screen glitched, static crawling across the lens, and for just a second, something appeared. A silhouette, towering, twisted, its limbs bent at angles that should have been impossible, and its eyes, glowing faintly red, watching from the edge of the circle. Rahul stumbled back. We need to go now." But Arjun, still clutching the book, didn't stop chanting. His voice was no longer his own. It was deeper, layered with something ancient, something that seemed to echo from beneath the earth itself. The ground split open near the altar, roots tore upward, writhing like snakes. The candles hissed, their flames bending toward the crack. From within the fissure, a foul stench rose, thick and suffocating like rotting flesh and burning sulfur. Kabir grabbed Arjun's arm. "Stop it! Stop reading!" But when Arjun turned, his eyes weren't his anymore. They were dark, empty, as if something else was staring through him. Then every candle went out at once. Pitch black silence. For a moment, the friends thought maybe it was over. Maybe it had all been just fear, imagination. But then, whisper, right behind them. "You called me," Mira screamed, spinning with her flashlight. But the beam only cut through thick fog now rising from the ground. Within that fog, shapes moved. Not one, not two, dozens. Figures with hollow faces, their bodies half-formed, dragging themselves forward on elongated limbs. Their whispers overlapped, a chorus of voices, begging, crying, laughing all at once. And above them, rising from the center of the altar, was the true form, the Yuksha. Its body was carved of shadow, but its mouth was real. Jagged, tearing open across its face, stretching wider than any human jaw could. And when it smiled, the forest seemed to scream with it. The friends broke. They ran. But in Dharava, there are no straight paths. Every trail twisted back to the altar, every step deeper into the same nightmare. The entity didn't chase. It didn't need to. The forest itself had become its cage. This is terrifying. Do you believe in curses? Well, I don't. Not until I read this story. In India, there's a legend about a girl who accidentally unleashed an ancient evil into the world, all because she wanted to film a ghost. The story goes like this. There was a small village nestled between hills and thick, dark woods. Most of the villagers were poor, so they welcomed a new arrival named Arjun with open arms. He was rich, well-educated, charming, and handsome. And before long, he was the life of the village, always ready with a joke, a helping hand, or an exciting story. He even had a beautiful girlfriend named Mira, who was just as kind and compassionate as he was. And there was another guy in the village who liked Mira a lot, a guy named Rahul. But Mira didn't feel the same way about him, so Rahul kept his feelings to himself, mostly because he was best friends with Rahul. They did everything together, including explore the nearby forest, which was said to be haunted. One day, while walking through the woods, Arjun stumbled upon a clearing. In the center was a weathered stone altar, overgrown with vines and creepers. Etched into the top of the altar was a strange symbol, and underneath it, a barely legible inscription that hinted at unimaginable powers. Arjun felt an unexplainable pull toward the altar. It seemed to whisper to him, promising secrets if he would only listen. Little did he know that it was the voice of an ancient spirit known as the Yuksha, a malevolent entity that had lain dormant for centuries. Arjun couldn't resist the allure of the unknown, so he decided to hold a seance right there in the clearing. Rahul and Mira were skeptical, but they loved Arjun, so they agreed to participate. Soon, the forest fell silent, and an eerie mist began to rise from the ground. Suddenly, the air grew freezing cold, and the trees around them creaked ominously. Then, standing before them, formed the Yuksha, a terrifying creature with glowing red eyes and skin like rotting flesh. The Yuksha demanded a price for answering their questions, and Arjun foolishly agreed without thinking it through. As soon as the Yuksha finished speaking, Arjun felt a jolt of pain shoot through him, as if something had latched onto his soul. The creature then vanished as quickly as it had appeared, leaving behind a sense of dread and unease that lingered in the clearing. They ran. Branches tore at their faces, roots clawed at their ankles. But none of it slowed them more than the truth dawning on them. They weren't leaving. Every path wound back to the altar. No matter which direction they took, no matter how far they sprinted, the circle of stones and the cracked ground returned, waiting for them. The Yuksha stood there, watching, patient, smiling with a mouth that split too wide, its teeth jagged and endless. Rahul collapsed to his knees, gasping. You're not going to make it." Mira dragged him up, tears streaking her face. "Don't say that. Keep moving." Kabir stumbled behind them, clutching his chest, muttering prayers he didn't remember learning. His usual humor was gone, stripped away by pure terror, and Arjun. Arjun was no longer Arjun. He staggered toward the altar again, still chanting words that rolled like thunder, his voice echoing with the forest itself. His friends screamed for him, but it was useless. Something had taken him, claimed him. The Yuksha leaned closer. its shadow stretching across the circle.
Hi.
From its mouth came a sound, not a roar, not a growl, but laughter. Laughter that didn't end. Laughter that filled the forest, shaking the trees until leaves rained down like ash. Mira turned the camera back on, desperate to capture what they were seeing, but the screen cracked, the lens splintered. Before it died completely, one final image seared itself onto the tape. Arjun's face, his eyes black, his mouth whispering with the Yaksha's voice. The friends split up, madness driving them apart. Kabir vanished into the fog, his screams cutting short far too soon. Rahul ran until his legs gave way, and when Mira found him again, he was staring into the trees, his body frozen stiff, eyes wide open, unblinking. She was the only one left. Somehow, as the first light of dawn crept over the treetops, Mira stumbled out of the forest, barefoot and bleeding. Villagers found her at the edge of the woods, clutching the ruined camera, whispering only one phrase over and over again. It wasn't supposed to answer. Weeks later, the villagers burned the altar, tore apart the stones, and buried the ritual book deep in the earth. They thought it would end the curse. But even now, at night, travelers claim to hear voices drifting from the forest. Some swear they've seen a girl wandering the edge of the trees, holding a broken camera, her lips moving as though she's still whispering the chant. And the Yuksha is still waiting. So, do you believe in curses? Let me know your thoughts below. Thanks for watching.